Yeah, welcome back to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network. And joining me on today's edition of the show is, of course, Iman. You know, so Rex Apele is here. Good morning to you, Rex, and welcome to the show.
Good morning to you, Kingsley, and our able listeners out there. Good morning also. Thank you for having me on this beautiful show.
All right, let's quickly bring you the latest coming from weightlifting this morning as Nigeria dominated the opening day of weightlifting competition at the 4th African Youth Games in Angola, claiming 8 gold medals and 1 silver yesterday. Favor Colinus led the charge in the 44 kg category with an astounding performance, winning 3 gold medals after lifting 50 kg in the snatch, 64 kg in the clean and jerk, and finishing with a total of more than 14 kg. In the 48 kg division, Esther Ezenwa delivered another triple gold display for Nigeria, recording 68 kg in the snatch, 77 kg in the clean and jerk, and posting a combined total of 140 kg the top of the category. Chinaza Ezenwa continued Nigeria's golden run in the 53 kg, winning 2 gold medals and 1 silver. She lifted 65 kg in the snatch to claim silver before responding strongly with gold in the clean and jerk at the 83 kg and gold in total with an impressive 148 kg. Weightlifting success after Nigeria's impressive performance at the games, which runs from December 10th to December 20th. Team Nigeria finished second overall on the athletics medals table with 11 medals, 6 gold and 5 silver. Gold medals were won by Rosemary Nwankwo in the girls 100 meters, Tejogo in the girls 200 meters, Asov Makodomi in the 400 meters, and Timothy in the boys triple jump. Rex, an impressive one, of course, for Team Nigeria, finishing second on the medals table, and as well, racking up a lot of medals when it has to do with weightlifting. What do you make of the performance for Team Nigeria at the African Youth Championship down there in Angola?
Well, it's an amazing performance from the athletes in Nigeria. The weightlifting has always been a competition where Nigerian athletes have been successful, especially in the African Games, the Commonwealth Games.
Why is it that we're so successful when it has to do with weightlifting? Even with the the para athletes are also very impressive when it has to do with weightlifting. The able-bodied athletes are also very impressive as well. Why are we so good in weightlifting?
I think it has to do with the nature of the sport. Nigerians can easily adapt to it, so quickly. And sometimes you go to gyms, you see people lifting weights, doing a lot, and even from the local scene, you also see some of these local doing having some weights show and all that, trying to build muscles. And so I think it has to do with the way Nigeria is being programmed. The sport is aligned with Nigeria. Is a Nigerian team. It's not like the European kind of sports where we struggle to compete. So I think that the likes of Precious or Ozioma and Maria Musman, they've been successful before, bringing gold in the Olympic medal competitions in the 1990s or so. So I think the sports is very known to Nigeria, and we've been very successful. They look at the performance at this level, so it shows that Nigerians are very good at it, and it's a good one that we have been successful going forward.
All right, it's an impressive one for Team Nigeria, the African Youth Games, putting up a very high-level performance, and they are finishing second on the medals table. Of course, a very, very impressive one. And of course, Nigeria's Nathaniel Ezekiel is posed for a landmark moment in collegiate athletics after being named a finalist for the Boema Award, the most prestigious individual honor in the United States college track and field, which will be presented today in Grapevine, Texas. Ezekiel, the winning NCAA outdoor 400 meters champion, is the first athlete from Baylor University to reach the final 3 for the award, often described as track and field equivalent of the Heisman Trophy. The ceremony will take place at the Gallup Texan Resorts and Convention Center, with the presentation beginning in the early hours of today. In Nigerian time, the 9-time All-American Cup and standing collegiate career by winning the NCAA outdoor 400-meter hurdle title in a school record, 47.49 seconds, down there. Another impressive record, of course, for Ezekiel Nathaniel, and we'll see how far, of course, he continues to keep up with this. Let's stay away from that now, as we take a look at some other interesting issues revolving around the beautiful world of sports. As Nigerian sprinter and Confederation of African Athletics 100 meters champion Olaolu Olatunde has switched to the University of Iowa from NCAA Division II side Heading University. The Big Ten school announced the arrival of the Nigerian on Wednesday as they prepare a strong contingent ahead of next season. Olatunde was recently named Harding University's most valuable athlete for 2025, following a record-breaking season that established him as one of the standard performers in the United States. United States Collegiate Athletics. His recognition came during the 2025 Harding Track and Field Award banquet in October, where, of course, was a very, very impressive one for the man as well. Nigerian athletes, of course, putting up some level of impressive performances, of course, out there. And, of course, we wish them the very best. Let's start away from that now, as we, of course, take a look at, some other interesting issues revolving around the British world of sports. As reigning national champion Muse Adekoke will face 10 tests as he defends his status against former champion Matthew Kuti and defending champion Adobasis Adofatai when the youth table tennis tournament served off today at the Molade Okoya Thomas Hall Teslim Balogun Stadium down there in Lagos. Adekoke has been in blistering form over the past month, with maiden Governor Adiri Top 16 Cup in Bayelsa and adding another title at the Lagos Club tournament featuring some of Nigeria's finest players. However, his record at the tournament has been mixed, finishing in the top 4 at the maiden edition in 2023, but failing to progress from the group stage in 2035. The under-19 category promises additional fireworks. St. Matthew Fabumi, current African Youth Games mixed team champion and cadet prodigy, Osman Ayola stepping up to challenge the heavyweights down there. This is another table tennis tournament, Rex, and of course we're going to be seeing young table tennis stars trying to showcase their prowess once again. We'll be talking about table tennis in Nigeria being on a decline. Do you see, of course, the next, table tennis stars, all right, coming from this particular tournament?
Yes, of course. It's possible that when you have tournaments like this, stars always emerge. But the most important thing is to make sure that these stars are being kept in proper, in check, to make sure that their growth is not stunted after the tournament. Like the best star we have now, I think, is Haruna Kodri, who has been doing very well. We've not had a very good replacement for him at this point. So I think that we need to keep an eye on some of these upcoming stars that are doing well in grassroots competitions like this, to make sure that their growth is followed up properly and make sure that they are able to live up to expectations.
All right, let's see how it goes this time around, as Nigeria's junior D Tigers have recorded a significant rise in the latest FIBA World Rankings, I guess, climbing 9 places to 26 and emerging as one of the biggest movers in the newly released standings published yesterday. The updated places Nigeria among the top climbers globally, ranking as the 4th biggest mover overall and the highest ranked nation to make such a leap within the top 30. The junior D Tigers now sit third in Africa with 469.5 points, who are, of course, down there, and it's been, of course, an impressive one, for them as well. Rex, what do you make of it? D Tigers, putting up a very, very impressive one. They're now 26 now in the latest FIBA rankings.
Well, I'd like to say that the junior D Tigers surge in the FIBA rankings indicates a serious improvement in Nigerians' competitiveness at the youth level of basketball, and it also brings positive implications for the team and the sport in the country. So that is to show you that the D Tigers at that level, they're also doing well, even at the national team level, you can see that they also at the under arena, is it under arena Wakama?
No, I think it is the senior
Yeah,
team
under
that
the senior
led
ones,
by Rena
Arena
Wakama.
Wakama, they're also doing very well. Not to be compared to the D Tigers, who are not doing very well at the moment. So I think at that level, it shows that the sports is really improving at that junior stage, and when they transcend to the national team, they are going to bring a lot of glories to the team.
Let's say it goes for the junior D Tigers, but why is it that why is that female basketball is doing very well more than male basketball down here in Nigeria? Even okay, let's take away the domestic league, all right? Let's talk about the national teams. D Tigers doing well more than the D Tigers, and now we're seeing the junior D Tigers, of course, are progressing. Why is it that the female basketball teams are doing better, than the male basketball teams?
I think a lot has been at stake for the D Tigers, at the national team level and also at the grassroots level. They've had a lot of challenges, administrative challenges, and player power challenges, where sometimes you call players and they are not available for big games, and that affects the outcome of the event, or the particular match, So I think that the D Tigers have suffered, but they have a lot coming up in 2026, and let's just hope that they can move away from whatever disappointment they've had in 2025 and move forward to achieve their goals.
All right, let's see how it goes. And but Rex, if you take a look at it, I think when it has to do with sports in Nigeria, the females have always, taken a very impressive, sports. You take a look at in athletics, the female athletes dominate more. They talk about the likes of Toby and Muson, and the rest of them. You come to football. Super Falcons, they've won more of the African Cup than even the Super Eagles of Nigeria. And now we're talking basketball. We're still talking about, the female basketballers doing better, than the male basketballers, even in weightlifting. All right, so you can take a look at it. The females are doing better than the male athletes or sports men to say, yes, the male athlete. Why is it so? Is it that our men are not doing enough, all right, to make sure they stand out when it has to do with their different discipline in sports?
Well, I don't want to go into the gender-based kind of perspective of who does better or not, but I feel like I said, the house, when your house is not in order, generally it tends to affect the team. We've had a lot of administrative issues in Nigeria sports in general.
Is that what is affecting the men?
Not only men, not only women. So sometimes a particular gender faces more casualties than the other gender, and we've seen it affecting the men more. Like, take for instance now, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they've had a lot of challenges. Okay, they are going into the AFCON. They've not paid Eric Chell about his 3-month salary. Even Mikel Obi spoke about it. So you can see some of these issues, and then sometimes the men may not be able to manage some of
even
men.
Administrative-wise. The male, even if you talk about the Super Eagles, they get more care and welfare than the female, even the Super Falcons of Nigeria. That's the thing.
I don't want to feel as if they get more care, because trying to balance it up, you can see that there are loopholes, and when some of these loopholes are not being taken care of, it can affect the team. So I don't want to go from the gender perspective. It can be that the women can cope with whatever challenges they are facing, and they try to put up some good performances. But the male child reacts differently, because generally we are providers, we are good thinkers and all that. So at the end of the day, it affects the male more than the female. So, but let's just go away from the gender perspective. I think that the NFF, those in charge of at the helm of affairs, they failed the country when it comes to administrative, wise, and that has affected the team both in athletics, both in football, both in basketball and other sports.
All right, so keep our fingers crossed and see how this one, of course, will go down. The female athletes are always thriving down here in Nigeria than the male athletes. We'll see if the narrative, of course, will change going forward. Away from that, let's talk about the highly anticipated bout between Anthony Joshua and Jake Paul. As Anthony Joshua faces Jake Paul in one of boxing most the BC fights in Miami today with the British Nigerian heavyweights vying to end the YouTubers run. Joshua, age 36, returns to the ring for the first time since a fifth round knockout loss to Daniel Dubois last September. While Paul is having his fourth professional bout following a points win over former world champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in June. At the final press conference yesterday, Paul predicted the biggest upsets in the history of sports and claimed he is more important for boxing than anyone else in the last decade. Joshua outlined his sense of responsibility to beat Paul on behalf of the boxing world, in the eighth round. The heavyweight bout at the Kazaya Center and at their first face-off in Miami, the 6 foot and 6 Joshua towered over the 6 foot one Paul and promised violence at this point in time. So I don't know what you make of this bouts. Paul said that the biggest upsets in the world of boxing is will happen, in this particular one. Do you see it happening?
It's possible. Never say never. Anything can happen. Like I told you yesterday,
Beating Joshua.
I said anything can happen. We've seen the cases where the underdogs can spring up a surprise, and especially whatever kind of sports, and it happens. And so I will not be surprised if at the end of the day he beats Anthony Joshua. So and he's confident at the moment that he can do it. His level
very
of
confident.
His very level of confidence is very high. So I won't be surprised. It's not by the weight. It's not by it. It's what you can bring to the table at the moment. And let's not be surprised if he ends up beating Anthony Joshua today.
What if it happens? Should we say this should be the end of Joshua's career? Because for someone who is not a professional boxer to beat you, who is a professional boxer, two-time heavyweight champion, an Olympic gold medalist, as a boxer, do you think this should be the end of Joshua as a boxer?
Sometimes you carry titles as a boxer, but take a look at where he won some of those titles. It's been a long time, and you're not able to build on that strength of what you've achieved. It's left for the younger generation or people that are informed to take over that belt, or that championship from you. So I think that, to me, it's left for him to pick up the pieces if he thinks that he still has what it takes to move forward in the boxing arena.
All right, let's see how it goes. The man, Jake Paul, looking very, very confident, at this point in time. Can he beat Anthony Joshua? Can he put up that upset? We'll keep our fingers crossed and see how this one, of course, will pan out at the end of the day. Let's bring you the latest coming from golf this morning, as Rory McIlroy has been named BBC Sports Personality of the Year 2025 after completing a historic career at Grand Slam with his Masters victory and playing a decisive role in Europe's Ryder Cup triumph. The 36-year-old Northern Irish golfer became the first European and sixth man to win all 4 majors, ending an 11-year wait since his last major title. McIlroy also enjoyed multiple wins during the year, including the Irish Open Players' Championship, AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am, and a 7th race to Dubai title. England rugby star Ellie Kildone finished second in the voting, while Formula One driver London Norris placed third down there. All right, at this point, we'll take a break. When we return from the break, we'll bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of football. Stay with us, right back. You're welcome back to Sports Talk on Atlantic Television Network, and of course, we're bringing you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. Time to talk football on the show as Barrow FC will trade tackles with Rivers United in the Nigerian Premier Football League Match Day 5 rescheduled fixture today. The encounter is bid for the Sani Abacha Stadium in Kano, and the game was moved from the initial date due to Rivers United participation in the CAF Champions League. Both teams will be meeting for the first time in the Nigerian Premier Football League. Barrow FC have managed 2 wins from the last 7 MPFL matches, while Rivers United are yet to test defeats in 4 games. The Malaya boys are 19th on the league table, while Rivers United top the MPFL table with 33 points. So, the outstanding game so many persons have been waiting for. Rivers United wins today. They continue, of course, to top the Nigerian Premier Football League table, seated number 1 as it stands. Do you see them getting a win against Barrow FC today?
A tough one indeed, because it's an away game, and you know how the Nigeria Football Premier League is being structured, where most of the time the home teams always take advantage of the fans and try to win, as possible. But I think that Rivers United has what it takes to at least get a good result away, by getting a draw. And they're still topping the Nigerian MPFL League at the moment.
They are top of the MPFL table. Do you see them, of course, being there probably to the end of the season? We know a lot of games to be played. I think just match day 17 now. We understand there's still a lot of games, of course, to play, but can they hold their own to the very end and possibly maybe lay their hands on the trophy?
It's possible because
under Finidi the Judge.
It's possible because I'm a Rivers indigene, so I always throw my support to Rivers United. But I think that they've struggled when the season started. They struggled a lot, and I just hope that they're able to bounce back from some of those struggles. At the point, they were even 10th in the league. They were getting some funny draws, and that they were supposed to win their home games and all that. But their last 4 games have been impressive. They've been able to wrap up points. And I think if they continue like that, I think Finidi George has what it takes to win the Nigerian Premier Football League.
Let's see how it goes. Finidi George might be a winner of the MPFL once again. Don't forget, he did it with Enyimba Football Club.
Yeah.
And is at the verge of possibly, of course, doing it again against, with Rivers United. So let's see how it goes. Enyimba's 31 victory over Kwara United on March 17 of the Nigerian Premier Football League was no fluke, according to interim head coach Lawrence Ikwebu. Chida Michael netted 2 quick goals, while Michael Agus was also for the People's Elephants. Toyib Gidado scored for Kwara United in the game, and Ikwebu said the result matched his plans and expectations from the game. The win lifted Enyimba to 8th place in the MPFL table, 23 points from 17 matches. Enyimba will be up against Economy Warriors in a match day 18 encounter this weekend. So a good win for Enyimba Football Club. They've been struggling as well, this season, but that was a huge relief, for the new coach of the side. Talking about Lawrence Ikwebu, do you see them building on this victory?
Yes, of course. They've been up and down after the sack of Stanley Guma. And they've been able to pick up some good results, and they are building momentum at the moment. So let's see how far they can go. But for winning the league, I think there's a bit of disparity between the first and where they are right now. And you know how the Nigeria Premier League is being structured. It's a marathon race, so you have to keep the race running from the start to finish. So I think let's just hope that they build on this momentum and try to book a place in the CAF competition that is coming up next year.
Enyimba, of course, has really been struggling since Finidi George left the side. I don't know what you make of it. They've actually we've seen them, of course, engage about 3 coaches, since Finidi George left. What could be the problem? Why is it that they're not firing the way, of course, we used to see before? A lot of persons are pointing fingers on the Kanu Anko, who is the chairman of the side, since he came in. No much, of course, progress, in the side. You think Kanu does not really have what it takes, of course, to, manage a team like Enyimba Football Club, but maybe the players or the coaches being employed that have actually, brought this setback, for Enyimba Football Club?
I think he does. Kano Wanko does. We all know he has the football sense, the perspective where he's coming from. Someone who has played for Super Eagles, and let's not also forget that he's just in charge of the administrative aspect of the team. You know, he's not into coaching the team.
As
and
a
all
chairman
that.
of the as a chairman of the club, the success of the team and the failure also will be attributed to you as well, because as a chairman you make decisions. The coach, you that will manage the team, of course, you're going to make decisions. The players that will also be bought, or players that will play for the team, you also have a say at the end of the day. So if the team fails, it's on the chairman. If the team succeeds, the chairman also takes the credit. So that means you won't say it's on the administrative part and the players and the manager, they are the one doing the job.
Yeah. Why I said is on the administrative part. It's like the way the Super Eagles is structured. Let's take it deep to the Super Eagles right now. The way it's structured, there's the NFF who plays the administrative part. Then there's the coach who takes responsibility for positioning the team to win, and there's the players who takes responsibility on the pitch. So the way Kano Wanko is placed at Eimba United is the same way Felix Anyasiago was placed during his hem of affair. So it's the administrative work he does. Definitely, administrators have one or two say to make sure that the team moves forward. But I think the major blame should go to the players and to the coach, who
not the chairman.
The chairman takes some of the blame, but the coach, does most of the practical aspect of putting the team forward.
Since you're using the Super Eagles of Nigeria, as an example here, if the Super Eagles of Nigeria do not do well, I hope you know that, of course, Nigeria will come for Ibrahim Musa Gusau, who is the NFF president.
Of course.
Definitely,
of course.
Because he takes decisions. He's the one who look out for the manager that, of course, will come to coach the team. All right. So if he gets the wrong manager, if he does not bring the right manager, Nigerians will come for him. Oh, since we've been here, there's no progress. We've not been able to qualify for the World Cup for about for 2 consecutive times now. We've not qualified. Our players are poor. We don't have a good manager. Ibrahim, what are you doing there? Same thing that goes as well to Kano Wanko.
Nigerians will come for him when there are administrative flaws, when there are lapses. You can see, as you can see now, payment of the coach salary has not been paid.
Even
some players have not been paid.
Aside from administrative flaws, performance on the pitch too, they will still come for him.
No. A performance on the pitch goes to the coach, to the gaffer. You have the responsibility to hire a good gaffer. So if the gaffer does not do the job, then the gaffer should be fired. So it is the work of the gaffer to take that responsibility. Remember, it's a role. The players have their own responsibility to deliver on the pitch. Because the gaffer cannot play football matches. He only needs to give instruction to make sure that the team is well positioned. So I think that it's about responsibility. So I wouldn't want to give Kano Wanko much of the blame, but I would say that from the overall analysis and from my own point of view, I feel like the coaches that they've employed in recent times, they've not been up to speed. They've not had that. Eimba needs a coach that should have at least that continental experience, because they've been playing in the continent for so long. Remember, this is Eimba who have won about 2 back-to-back CAF Champions League during the time of Ojizo Kalo, when he was governor of Abia State. He was the number 1 supporter of that team. So they've been stable. So they need a coach who has the continental experience blended with the local experience also to coach the team in the APL. And they've not had that. They brought in Stanley Guma. Stanley Guma could not do the job, and he was fired. They brought in some other coaches. He could not. So I think that even this coach that they are having right now does not have that continental experience. So I think that anybody needs to find a coach that can guide them to the continental, that has the continental experience and also has the local experience to guide them to victory.
All right, let's see how it goes. We hope that Eimba will try most as they can to take themselves away from this struggle. Away from that, let's bring you the latest from the Super Eagles camp, as the Super Eagles called off their scheduled training section yesterday after arriving late in first Morocco ahead of the 2025 African Cup of Nations. The 3-time African champions touched down in the host city yesterday evening following 5-day training camp in Cairo, Egypt. As a result of the delayed arrival, As a result, of course, of the delayed arrival, the planned 6 p.m. local time training section yesterday was cancelled, with the team set to hold their first full section in Morocco today. Nigeria traveled to first 3 days before the start of the tournament and 5 days ahead of their opening Group C fixture against Tanzania. While in Cairo, preparations were affected by the staggered arrival of players, with the camp opening on Sunday with 10 players before swelling to 38 by Wednesday this week. All right, so Super Eagles and Morocco Rex getting ready for their first game on the 23rd of December against Tanzania. So they couldn't train yesterday, but I believe, of course, they will kickstart their training, today. So we're in for the African Cup of Nations in Morocco. How do you see this one panning out for the Super Eagles of Nigeria? Do you think we have what it takes? What have been your observations so far about the team? What have you been able to deduce?
It's so funny that we are still talking about preparation at this point, but I feel like the team can do well in the competition, but I don't see us winning the competition. We can improve our performances on the pitch, the way we play, and then make sure that at least we get, even if it's bronze or silver, and then we come back home. But going for the gold, it's very possible for Nigerians to win the gold if we have an optimal performance, play at a very high level, and then make sure we defeat major teams that are very good, like Morocco, Senegal, and Algeria. But looking at those teams, the way they play, I've watched them play, I think we are no match to them. Honestly, I'm just being factual. I'm a Nigerian, but I just have to speak the truth, But I think that tactically, a coach who is sound can know how to put his team to even defeat the most strongest team in the world. I think it's left for the coach to do justice to that.
Well, what you've seen about Eric Chell, especially in the World Cup qualifiers, is it not tactical enough to, of course, give Nigeria their fourth AFCON title?
Tactical enough, and we could not win a DR Congo. so it's the way you say tactical. You have to look at the performance level of what he has achieved so far.
But he tried when it comes to tactics. The game ended on penalties.
We would have lost that game. Maybe you didn't take time to analyze. We would have lost that game. After we scored, it didn't take up to 10 minutes. They equalized us in that game, and the pressure was so much on it. We were just lucky to have escaped that particular game, to have ended that game in a penalty shootout.
With DR Congo allegedly feeding in ineligible players.
That is not an excuse. They feed ineligible. Why don't you win them? Win them now. So the point I'm saying is, Eric Chell, I'm not convinced about his tactical, because why? This team has not improved his style of play. It has not improved his style of play.
You mean they've not improved?
Which style do you think the Super Eagles is playing? Are we playing counter-attack? Are we playing possession-based football? Are we playing total football? Are we playing aggressive football? How are we playing? So that is the question. When you see a coach who you say...
So you've not observed anything good
there's
about
nothing good about
tactics?
The tactics is not there. Let's just be honest. We are just assembling players, making sure that we get the player power figure of maybe Victor Osimhen to score goals, Ademola Lookman, and try to. That is what we are doing. A coach who is tactically inclined, even if you use amateur, you will see that this coach has something. That first 1 month of handling the team, you will see that there is a pattern. There is a fluid pattern, the way the team plays. And maybe if you're playing a defensive pattern, you will know that this team is structured that way. They want to defend you, and at the end of the day, they bounce you on counter and they score. If you're playing the Guardiola style or the Arsenal style, you know that this team, that's the way they play. They play possession football. They want to hold on to the ball, they press you and make sure that they get a goal. That is it. So which pattern are we playing? If you're playing the total football, you know that you're playing total football. You want to play crossing and heading. You want to go for set piece. Every set piece, the coach know that as we're having out of 3 corners, you know that there's a chance that we might score at least one, because they've already practiced it on training. They know that this is their strength. So which pattern are we playing? No pattern. So that's why I say for tactics, I'm not sure Eric Che has the capacity to deliver the goods. But let's just hope that the team finds their rhythm in this AFCON and tries to get as far. I think they've already given him semi-final. You can imagine the NFF giving the Super Eagles the semi-final target. Why not go for the gold? But you're giving this. That's to show you that they are not even convinced that the team can deliver the Nations Cup to Nigerians.
All right, let's see how it goes, and we'll look forward to see what the Super Eagles of Nigeria will do this time around at the African Cup of Nations. Away from that, Nigerian football legend Segun Edegbami has said he has stopped following the Super Eagles preparations for the 2025 African Cup of Nations, insisting the team were not good enough after their failure to qualify for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Speaking in the Hill, the former Green Eagles winger said Nigeria's exit from the World Cup playoff had deeply affected him and many football-loving Nigerians, dampening interest in the national team ahead of the continental tournament. He added that the team did not merit qualification for the World Cup, citing a lack of efforts and quality in their campaign. The 2025 AFCON will kick off on December 31st with the Super Eagles arriving first on Thursday. Of course, they're already in Morocco as they stand ahead of their Group C matches against Tanzania, Tunisia, and Uganda. Odegbomi was part of Nigeria's maiden AFCON triumph in 1980 and represented the country at the 1976 Olympics. What do you make of it? Some Nigerians have lost interest on the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This is the African Cup of Nations, and if you take a look at the way it is, Nigerians are not really having that anticipation, all right, of the AFCON, maybe having that, zeal or passion of watching the Super Eagles of Nigeria in the AFCON due to what happened, of course, in the World Cup qualifiers. A lot of Nigerians are very, very disappointed, as it stands. So, you think at this point in time, this is when the Super Eagles of Nigeria should try to rekindle back that love and, of course, make Nigerians to be very much passionate about their game once again?
Yes, of course. I think Otebami has said it all. It is fact. Some people don't like facts. When a team loses qualification slots, not even the first time, back to back, and you've not won the AFCON since 2013 or so. So what do you think? It shows that the team is really, really on a decline. So I think that the nation has lost interest. Nobody talks about the AFCON at the moment. Oh, will they go and play? Let them go and play, now let's see. So I think that the Super Eagles should use this as a tool, to use their defeat as a tool to make sure that they come back home. Not just that semi-final, it is mediocrity. And I say it with all sense of responsibility for the NFF to say that the Super Eagles are just aiming for semi-finals. That's the height of mediocrity. So the Super Eagles should use this failure not to qualify for the World Cup as a propelling tool to make sure that they come back with the gold. I think if they put themselves together, put their house in order, play with all their strengths and their abilities, and I believe they can achieve that. It's very, very possible.
All right, former Super Eagles captain Mikel Obi has criticized Nigeria's preparation for the 2025 African Cup of Nations, launching a scathing attack on the Nigerian Football Federation over ongoing administrative issues. Speaking on his Obi One podcast, Mikel expressed disappointment of the build-up to the tournament, which kicks off on Sunday in Morocco, and questioned how a national coach could be owed salaries at such a critical stage. Super Eagles coach Eric Chell was reported to be owed 3-month salary and bonuses by the NFF ahead of the tournament. However, National Sports Commission Chairman Cheo Diko disclosed on Monday that the Nigerian, the NXC has been paying Chel's salary on behalf of the NFF despite not being party to his contract. Nigeria will compete in Group C at the 2025, AFCON alongside Tunisia, Uganda, and Tanzania. So Mikel Obi has been talking tough on Nigerian football. And there was a time he said he's ready, of course, to take up the leadership of the Nigerian Football Federation. Do you think all of this criticism is gearing towards him having that interest of maybe coming to take up the NFF?
No, I think criticism is part of our day-to-day life. You know, people criticize constructively, and I think I've been following his criticism. He's very constructive. You know, he said a lot. You know, that there was a time when he was the leader of the team and the pro preparation to the World Cup. You know, the team was being owed bonuses and a lot, and he said the players were complaining, like, so they felt like after the World Cup they're not going to be paid their bonuses. So he had to call the office of, I think, the president then, Muhammadu Buhari, and somebody picked, and that was the following day, they brought the millions of dollars to the team camp, and he told them, don't make sure that this money does not go to the president of the NFF. The secretary, he said, make sure that this money is being paid to the players. Now that is a leader who understands how this thing is being, how this money affects, you know, the performance of players on the pitch, no matter how small it is. So I think that Mikel Obi is talking from an angle he understands because he's been there. He's criticizing constructively. So I think that if he's been given the position of the NFF chairman, he can be able to handle some of this administrative issue because he has been there. He knows some of the loopholes and how this money is being diverted, and because he said it in one of his podcasts. He said, don't give this money to social people. If not, they will divert the money. Make sure that this money gets to the players directly. And that is what has been happening in the team. Even in, not even only in football, in other sectors, in athletics, they give people money. This money has been diverted for some people's personal gain or for some people's greed. So I think that Mikel Obi has said it all. He has what it takes to be an NFF chairman, and he's talking from a constructive aspect of criticism, and criticism is what makes a team grow. Without criticism, the team will be stagnant. I'm not sure the Super Eagles can grow without criticism.
All right, let's see how it goes. Mikel Obi, will he be the next Nigerian Football Federation president? We'll see how that one, of course, will go down. But still talking about the AFCON, we understand that Nigerian Afrobeat star David Adeleke, popularly known as Davido, will headline the opening concert of the African Cup of Nations 2025 in Rabat, Morocco. The Confederation of African Football, in a statement yesterday, announced that Davido will lead a star-studded international lineup for the pre-tournament concert. Also be to perform global hip-hop artist French Montana, Moroccan singer Doua La You, French Moroccan hitmaker La Tis, and a fast-rising artist Says. This is a very huge one, of course, you know, for the Nigerian music industry.
Yes, of course, Davido, the big star at the moment. You know, we saw what happened yesterday, the Qatar Ife live stream where Davido pulled up, and a lot of things happened, and that's the largest so far on Twitch. You know, so he gave a Qatar Ife about $150,000 US dollars just instantly. So he's a big star, and is a good thing that our own is one of the big stars, or even the big name in representing us in a major AFCON tournament, and it shows that it's being prized. It brings pride to the country that we are really doing well when it comes to entertainment.
Is he the best artist in Nigeria?
I would say he's among the big three. Some will prefer Davido, some will prefer Burna Boy, some prefer Wizkid, but to me, 001, OBO.
All right, so wish Davido the very best of luck, of course, as he headlines the opening ceremony of the AFCON 2025. At this point, we'll call it a wrap on 6 p.m. on Sports Extraordinary to bring you the latest revolving around the beautiful world of sports. You can go down to our different social media handle, Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. The conversation continues right there. Special thanks to Rex for doing justice on the show this morning.
Thank you so much for having me on the show.
All right, my name is Kinsley Manuel. Thanks for watching.